were kind of treating your brand. You know, the logo's sort of reversed out. It doesn't really connect with other things that are happening online. So there's some potential issue there that somebody receiving this email may not realize it's you, and there's some confusion you can cause there. So we typically recommend against that. So instead, what we tried to do was kind of make a template that was a little more like your site, so that experience was closer to the same, and then really use messaging to kind of bring in that holiday kind of stuff. So you know, you obviously could trade that out with imagery and that sort of thing, but you know, keeping that consistency really helps over time. So to get into it, running a pre-header, just clean that up a little bit. Logo front and center, as we were just talking about. Brought the offer up right away so people can see it. Obviously a great area for testing. You're probably already doing that. Call to action here, and we brought in the validation right front and center too, so people know that everything is safe and secure. We tried to bring the products up a little bit and kind of get it in a little easier area, closer to the preview pane, that sort of thing. Get some more actionable calls to action right in here, a buy now, and we would definitely change test this wording. We also brought in some imagery that made it seem like it was a little more like in the day-to-day and use. That'd be fun to test that imagery versus kind of the glamour shots over here of the various calendars, if you can have glamour shots for calendars. Which you can. And then you know, brought in a recovery area with the offer again and a little more call to action. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Our second contender, eROI. And this one's so interesting because they all came out so different. So this one was kind of fun. It's fun to see, you know, the best practices, I think, that apply themselves across all of them and that are really similar. But these ones, you know, there's a pretty good span.
Yeah, we actually took a little bit of an opposite approach here, where we treated it more as a one-off holiday design, primarily focused on driving traffic to the online store. So you'll see, you know, immediately that we've deviated a little bit from the typical color palette, but very deliberately. We kind of felt like, made two assumptions about the recipient on this. One is that they're probably an existing customer, that they purchased products before, they don't really need the reasons to buy planners, because you know, they already have. And the second is it's the holiday season, they're getting a ton of emails, they're getting bombarded, they're probably seeing a lot of snowflakes and ribbons, so we kind of wanted to just cut to the chase and get to the deal and be able to kind of receive that messaging at a glance. And so we worked with web, you know, safe fonts to basically create this messaging area, typographic treatment up top, focusing on the deal at hand, the coupon code, and then with regard to the products that are being shown, we steered away from the holiday-specific products and thought, you know, at the end of the year, what are people really looking for, but products for, you know, for the new year. So we focused on that as the primary call to action, so daily, weekly, and monthly. And of course, this 10% off is good for anything in the online store, so quick links above that to other popular areas within the site. Another thing we found was that on the previous email, you'll see here this kind of blue box. It was taking up a lot of real estate and a lot of focus on the holiday shipping schedule, which, while it's important, it's kind of the secondary information. So we simplified that, and we chose to focus on the most urgent, which was to get this by Christmas, December 24th, ordered by the 10th. And then we link off to the site for more information about specific carriers and other stuff. It just got in the way of the message. And lastly, we created a footer where we've got one highlighted link for ordering online, and that makes 13 links, I believe, to the store. So just trying to create as many different paths as possible to the online store.
Great, thanks so much. So one more time, this is Responsys, our third contender, and Julian, take it away. And we can go back and forth a little bit since we've got some height here. How do we want to start? Oh. Here? Here?
Maybe the full one.
Great.
Okay. So what we did here is really more minor tweaks, and I took the approach that this was not necessarily going to be a holiday-specific template, that this was going to be a year-round template, and that hopefully dynamic content and more targeting was going to play into this, so creating something that could be adapted for those purposes right away. So trying to squeeze in more products at least on this first tier of secondary content, adding some key system text lines throughout, just to help tell the story and set the stage as somebody scrolls through it. And even though we kept this in, we reformatted it so it could be a dynamic element as well, or something stationary. And then once again, taking a very modular approach, so maybe different offers could be tested or things inserted in and out as needed. So if you didn't need this here, it would just collapse and stack up and so forth. So visually, made a move closer to the website, and if you compare it to the original email, maybe relatively the same, but more of a back-end strategic approach to how this could be stronger and more effective down the road, because these products, getting it right based on what knowledge you have is probably going to make this retailer more successful, knowing what people are in the market for at the right time, and then understanding the audience because they have a full range of products. And then the only thing down here, besides reaffirming the brand, is sometimes I like to actually just throw the key products that were maybe back in the hero shot back in here again. And clients that I've done that for, this is actually one of the most clicked on links, and I don't really have a really valid scientific reason, but I go with it, and it works, and it makes the brand look nice and kind of, once again, end on a very positive note. You know, probably maybe one thing to say is email length, like this one definitely looks long compared to the competitors, and there's no set rule on what length should be. It's all about relevance as people scroll through. You know, if it's relevant and right, and depending on your frequency, that's how you should gauge what the right length is and what works for you. And if people are still scrolling and you have the right information, you'll see that your links are just clicked upon as much as links up top if it's done right.
I love that little thing at the bottom. I just learned something. Thank you.
Yeah.
So just if you guys wanted to see the top part a little bit larger, we thought you gave me that opportunity. Before you took out your mobile devices for the last time during this panel,